Today we'll be doing a review of the LG B1 OLED. We'll be evaluating it on our standardized test bench to see how it performs and if you should buy it. We bought and tested the 55-inch model, and we expect the other sizes to perform similarly. This TV has a lot of similarities to the more widely available C1, so it's a kind of strange fit in LG's lineup. The B1 has a nice design that's very similar to last year's B10. The central stand supports the TV well, but it sits quite low, which might be a downside if you want to put a soundbar in front. The inputs are located on the left-hand side and back of the TV, and while there are 4 HDMI ports, only the 2 rear-facing ones support the newest HDMI 2.1 standard for high bandwidth signals from a new console or PC. One of these ports also supports eARC, so you can connect it to a receiver or soundbar to play audio from the TV through your external speakers. The downside of this is if you want to do that, then you'll only have one port left for an HDMI 2.1 connection to the TV, which may be a downside if you want both the Xbox Series X and PS5, or just to be future-proof. The back of the TV fits the VESA mount standard with a 300 by 200 pattern, so you can wall mount it if you'd like. It doesn't stick out much, but the fatter base of the TV prevents a really flush look. The build quality of the TV feels excellent, with a smooth metal back and plastic around the inputs that feels like brushed aluminum. Now let's get on to our test results. We'll start with the contrast. High contrast is important for deep and detailed dark scenes when watching in a dark room. Like other OLEDs, this TV doesn't have a backlight, and instead each subpixel can be controlled precisely. As a result, it can produce perfectly deep blacks, which is excellent for an immersive home theater experience. Due to this subpixel level brightness control, the B1 doesn't require a local dimming feature, and dark scenes look very impressive. On the other hand, if you want to use the TV in a bright room, then a high peak brightness is important to overcome glare. A downside of OLED displays like this one is that they can't get the whole screen as bright as their LCD counterparts, so it's really not the best for a room with a lot of light. For small bright areas, like when watching newer HDR or high dynamic range content, it can do an alright job though, so it doesn't really detract from the HDR movie watching experience. If you still want to put this TV in a bright room, then good reflection handling is important. This TV does an excellent job and can really reduce glare significantly, even though it has a glossy finish. It does have a purple tint to the reflection, but it really depends on your preferences if this is bothersome or not. If you've got a wide seating arrangement or like to watch TV with family and friends, then good viewing angles helps to ensure that no one is left with washed out colors. This TV has excellent viewing angles, as the image remains accurate when viewed from the side, so it's a great choice for wide seating areas. If you want to watch sports or play video games, then you'll typically encounter large uniform colors. With scenes like this, an overall uniform screen brightness and color is important to avoid the appearance of clouding known as the dirty screen effect. This varies between units, but we expect that the B1 we bought is about typical. The uniformity on this TV is excellent, which is great for watching sports. Near black scenes have typically presented uniformity issues for OLEDs, but even in this case, the faint horizontal and vertical lines are really hard to notice and shouldn't be a problem. A lot of people care that a TV has good colors. In the case of the B1, the TV can display deep, vivid colors, which is great if you like an image with extra saturation or for watching high dynamic range or HDR content on streaming services. The ability to display smooth gradients is an important aspect of picture quality to prevent visible banding when watching scenes with light gradations, such as a sunset. This TV performs excellently, so banding isn't an issue, and there's also a smooth gradation feature to improve the performance further. When playing video games, fast response times are important for the clearest image without blur. Like other OLED TVs, the B1 has an instantaneous response time, which is excellent. This means the only type of blur that's visible is known as persistence blur, but even this can be largely removed by toggling a setting to flicker the image for the clearest result when playing fast-paced games. A low input lag is also important for a responsive feel when playing video games, and like many new TVs, this one performs excellently. There's a new prevent input delay setting on this TV, which is effective at improving the input lag for 60Hz content for responsive gaming on an older console. The B1 also supports variable refresh rates or VRR for smooth gaming experience without any visual tearing, but surprisingly, the input lag is slightly higher than the other OLEDs in LG's lineup. For most people, this difference probably isn't noticeable though. Speaking of gaming, this TV supports a wider range of signals and refresh rates with an Xbox Series X or PS5 due to the HDMI 2.1 ports. This is great for gaming from a new console with a detailed and smooth experience. A bit surprisingly, 4K 120Hz Dolby Vision HDR gaming isn't supported like it is on the LG G1 OLED, but this might change in a firmware update. Like other LG TVs, this one uses the webOS smart platform. It's user-friendly and the menu navigation is smooth. Unfortunately, there can be ads on the home screen and App Store without any way to disable them. This TV is also advertised to have a slightly different processor to the LG C1 OLED, but we didn't notice any impact on the smart feature performance. The sound of this TV is surprisingly good, with a bit better bass than most TVs, but you still need a dedicated subwoofer for real rumbling or punch to the low end. It's probably good enough for most people, but if you can afford it, then a soundbar will produce better sound. Now, any review of an OLED TV wouldn't be complete without a discussion about burn-in. The organic light-emitting diodes can degrade over time, but from our long-term testing, we found that although it's definitely possible, we don't expect people who vary what they watch to have an issue. If you are worried though, then you might want to look at an LCD TV instead, or purchase from a retailer that provides a burn-in warranty. So now to wrap it up, should you buy this TV? To be honest, the B1 is a bit odd in LG's lineup, so it's probably not the right choice unless you really find it at a discount. The LG C1 is around the same price, and it's generally much more readily available. This higher availability means that it's more likely to get longer support through firmware updates, and might even have more competitive pricing due to competition between retailers. It's also a bit brighter and is advertised with a better processor. Sony also makes great OLED TVs. The A80J is a good choice that's known for better processing features, which could be an advantage if you like watching movies. It does come with a price premium though, and doesn't support as many gaming features like variable refresh rates. This is advertised to come in a future firmware update, but don't count on it soon, as last year's TVs had the same advertising and it's still not available. Now, if you're after a TV for a bright room or are worried about the possibility of burn-in, then take a look at the Samsung QN90A. The different panel technology results in some trade-offs, but generally a better bright room experience.